We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 2062. Today, Jill and I are talking about what an acceptable HOA is in your land acquisition and what is not. HOA is Homeowners Association, or LOA is Landowners Association.
Or POA, Property Owners Association.
I'll define that in a couple of minutes.
We just did.
I'll define why some properties have them, why some properties don't, why some are good, and why some suck.
All right.
Each day on the show, we answer a question from our Land Academy member Discord forum. We take a deep dive into the land-related topics that you request.
All right. Jack wrote, hello all. Where can I get more instruction in sales training? The more I speak with potential sellers, the more I understand how important it is to be good at this. There's so many places online. There's all kinds of good things you can do. So, number one, I'm happy to help you. So, this came from Discord. So you were in the group. So first thing I would say, ask me anything. You have me every week. We'll have a couple things. You have me every week for free as a member in the Land Academy call that we all get together on. You also have the opportunity to do one-on-one coaching with me if you want to do that too. And it's turn it on, turn it off. Do a month, 2 months, 6 months, whatever you need. And we'll do it. We'll even do phone calls together. I'll do that too. I'll pick up the phone and I'll call the seller and you could be right there listening and how I handle it live, and try to get a deal for you. One of your deals, by the way, not one of mine. I'll call one of yours. So that's an opportunity too. And the other thing is there's always good things to read about. You know, I don't just zero in on one person's training style, like sales style, like Grant Cardone. I'm going to read everybody's. I'm going to read this person's style, this person's style, this person's style, this person's style, because I'm going to take little nuggets from all of it, including me. You're going to take some from me and then put it into your own thing, what works for you. Because even listening to me and mirroring what I say, writing down my script, it may not be as natural as how you would do something. I am sure the way that I talk to people to get what I want out of them, with a seller is very different than how Jack does it. I know that from experience. It's kind of funny.
Me at talk to people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Back when he used to talk to people with the sellers, it was very different.
We got a lot of deals done, though. So
yeah.
I don't know.
You did. You got some.
It's a different approach. You're absolutely right.
You did. So I'm just going to say, read everything, get your hands on. I don't have one place that I would say, go here. So I do know this. In the land space, I would go up against darn near anyone about acquisitions and getting sellers to winning over sellers and getting the most deals. We've done little contests like that with friends over the years, like, who can get to $1 million fastest and that kind of a thing. So I happen to have some experience there.
I think this is something the listening audience is probably not going to want to hear this. This is something that, for the most part, you're born with. I think you can sharpen your skills.
True.
I think you can create your kind of own MO and develop some really good habits. But there's basic statistics on talking with people and getting them to do what you want that you should follow. Like, the more I talk to them and the more times I touch them, the more of a chance there is that I'm going to sell them what I want or buy their property or whatever. So that's a super important situation. What Jill has, like I've never seen, is the ability to assess who she's talking to really, really quickly. Lately, she says things to me like, largely because we live in an RV, we have for a lot of months, and I've never worked this closely with you, proximity wise. She'll come back and say, this guy's not a real seller. And I can hear what's going on in the conversation, and I would not have picked up on that. So she's very, very astute really quickly, and then she doesn't waste time. She does put in the time, or the people are, you know what, I do want to sell this, but I've got this obstacle. And then she sits down and addresses the obstacle, often of the deals that we're doing now are there's other siblings involved in a property they own. That's a huge one right now. And of course, price. And price we can overcome pretty quickly. If they're the actual decision maker and Jill doesn't see the value in what they want, they're just not going to move. She moves on.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
So
Thank you.
there's some basic stuff, but largely, I know Jill was born with this for a lot of reasons.
Joe.
Today's topic, what's an acceptable HOA in your land acquisition?
So Jack was describing, there's HOA, POA, LOA. Those are all versions of property owners associations. Why do they exist? Why do they exist? Other than,
HOAs.
well, I mean, I do know why they exist. I think there's two parts. Can I say?
Yeah,
can I
sure,
give you
sure.
my definition, and I'm going to ask you? Okay, number one, it's a way to restrict the neighbors. Hold on a moment. How about this? It's a way to positively guarantee that this piece of land that you obviously have control over, because you established this HOA, will remain to whatever standards, whatever level, whatever size, whatever things that you want. And you could put anything you want in there. You could put, everybody has to have a red front door. You could put, everybody can always have their garages facing in the back. No one can have a trash can out after 5 p.m. on trash day. Like, dream it up. You can create anything you want. No one can put, used cards on your front yard, all kinds of things like that. So you can see some things you're like, all right, I kind of agree with that. But it can get crazy. You can do whatever you want. So I think that's a reason why people would establish that. And then there's other things that there's another core reason, which is just flat out money. I'm going to control this. I'm going to make this the most beautiful thing.
Flat out.
I'm going to say every property has to be an acre. So everybody's going to want to live here. I'm going to make this beautiful clubhouse. You're going to pay for this, by the way, a beautiful park in these green spaces. And I'm going to charge through the nose, and I'm going to always get recurring money because you have to pay me monthly, quarterly, annually, however you want to spell it out again too. This is your thing. But it starts with owning the land. So what has happened over the years, can I keep going?
Yeah.
Okay.
My whole thing is going to be way more negative than yours. So
Okay, this is good. And I'm on a roll. So now you know what's going on with HOAs, right? Okay, I see. I get it. What's happened over the years is that they have gone cuckoo, right? There are some that have just gone cuckoo. They've gotten so expensive. They have age restrictions. I mean, like all the things I talked about. Then there's even more than that you could, request and require. And again, it's all legal. It has to be, I'm sure there's some business practices, things you have to establish, but you can kind of do what you want because you own control of the land. People, and so what has happened now is gotten so kooky that especially for a long time, we just said no HOAs. I don't want to deal with it. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to, if there's an HOA, I'm out. And they're easy to spot when we are looking in, like we use parcelfact.com. You're looking at the property, you're looking at the legal description, you're looking at all the details on who owns it. You pick up on subdivision, in the assessor's data, and you're like, uh-oh, it looks like it's Jill's land phase 1. We're going to know Jill's land might be an HOA kind of thing. Why would they have that there? That's a good indication. And then how do you further check that? Google it, call the county, and there's other ways that you can confirm all that. Now, so that's what's happened over the years. Well, what's interesting is you're missing a lot of property. We have learned this too over the years. Not all HOAs are bad, especially in some of the more rural, weather-challenged areas. Sometimes there are lovely communities that...
Weather challenged.
You like that?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to use that. It's going to be a show next week.
Yeah.
Are you weather challenged?
Exactly. Lovely communities in parts of the country that have an HOA. And all it is shared road maintenance, making sure the mailboxes are clean, making sure you can get in and out of your, property, snow removal, keeping the pretty posts at the front, little things like that. It's not always a guard gate and a lady with a clipboard. That's it. in gauchos with a visor.
And a beehive haircut.
Exactly. Driving around in a golf cart. So if you live in that community, sorry, you know exactly who we're talking about. Her name is probably Karen. So
She's had 2 terrible relationships.
she has, and her dog's right there with her, and her dog is mean.
She's no longer trusts anyone.
Yeah, and it's a little white dog. Anyway.
You're the customer and the enemy.
And the problem. And your weeds, she is out there with a ruler in your yard every week checking your weed growth. Anyway. So
There's some stuff missing in her life that is we can't
control.
talk about in a rated G show.
Yeah, Karen needs to have something, and we won't go there. At least twice a week and make Karen a much happier person.
In fact,
Well, just going to say, Karen needs a cup of coffee.
the HOA would go away in 2 months.
Yeah.
If she gets her coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Twice a week. From a big man named Ken.
He's the coffee guy.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
Ken. Why Ken?
I don't know. Like Ken doll. It looked like a Ken doll. Anyway, so an acceptable HOA is not the first one we're talking about, but the second one. If I'm paying equivalent of $25 a month, which adds up to whatever a year, you know, I don't care. I'm okay with that. You know, I'm paying $100 a quarter, you know, to keep my mailbox cleared and the gravel consistent and the snow. You know, that's an acceptable HOA to me. And the point of the topic today is I don't want you to just rule out all the HOAs. I want you to get your hands on them. Look at the price. Often the price will tell you, is it $500 a month or $500 a year? That's going to give you an indication too. $500 a month. Oh, they got a staff. There's stuff going on. That's usually an indication of that they need to be checking all this stuff and they're just kind of nuts. $500 a year. All right. They're not doing that much. What are they doing? I need to get my hand on the regs and figure this out. The other thing is too, when you're carrying these properties, you're buying a property to resell it. What if it's going to take, what if you're buying it in the winter and you know it's going to go in the spring and you're going to hang out with it because you want it, it's going to be like, wow, I've checked the trending last how many years. I know it's going to happen. If I list this thing in April, it's going to be gone in 2 weeks. And I know how great it is kind of thing. Maybe I list it in March and get the, build up, whatever. That's great, whatever you're doing. But you need to think about these carrying costs. If you're spending $500 a month carrying costs on these properties, that is eating away at your profit when you do go to sell. So that's another thing to think about. But my main point is to get a hold of it, see what they're all about, and don't kick them all to the curb.
This is a huge opportunity for me to rant, which I'm going to pass up because Jill actually did a great job talking about HOAs.
Don't I always do a good job?
But to summarize this, HOAs, you're either an HOA person or you're not. You're either looking out your window saying, wow, this is an amazing neighborhood I live in, and there's nobody's parked on the street. All the houses are painted the same. I don't have to worry about this anymore. Somebody else is, and I only have to pay $82 a month or whatever it ends up being. Or you're on the other side where you trust your neighbors and yourself, and you have an air of collaboration about you, not punishment. Where if somebody's walk isn't getting shoveled, it's probably for a reason. They're a little bit too old, or they've aged in place, and they need your help. Or if somebody's got too much trash around their house and the entire neighborhood doesn't like it, then everybody gets together, goes over there and says, John, you got too much trash, so we're going to help you move it because it's screwing up everything for us. So that's trust.
That's nice.
And collaboration. The other way, unfortunately, is just what it is, and you're either an HOA person or you're not. These HOAs that we run into as land investors are because in the 50s and 60s and 70s, subdivision laws, taking a huge piece of property and dividing it into smaller, tinier pieces of property that are with the intent to be built on, were created with very few regulations, so it got abused. And to make it worse, the people who did these, sometimes thousands of properties, there's subdivisions just south of Albuquerque, there's thousands and thousands of properties that are charged $25 a month. Not because of the Karen thing, but because they wanted an income stream that would live on forever.
Right.
And so that's the those types, they never got developed. They never were intended to be developed. They were just intended to collect $25 a month from somebody. That's the stuff we get smashed on as land investors. We send out a mailer. There's no way to extract it effectively from the mailer that you're doing from a data standpoint, because the assessor doesn't care. It doesn't fall into the assessor's data.
It is separate. You're right.
It's completely separate. Even if you see a little button that says remove all HOAs, it's not effective. So the key is to look at it. If you get some property coming back in an HOA, to decide which one it is, like Jill said. Is it the snow removal HOA, where everybody's really collaborating and saying, we really do need to all put into the kitty, put $25 into the kitty all year, and then cut a contract with snow removal service so that John down the end of the block isn't late for work every time it snows.
Mm-hmm.
That's really healthy, and we buy property in HOAs like that frequently.
Yep.
We don't buy the other kind.
Exactly.
Join us tomorrow. We're going to discuss whether or not you have the personality traits of a successful land investor. You are not alone in your real estate ambition.
We are Jack and Jill.
Information
And inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.